I've seen 12 films at this year's London Film Festival, and I've blind ranked those films as the festival went on. Why? 1, because lists are fun, and 2, it's a nice framing device for this video. I've done this last year as well, so if you've seen that, you know the deal. Let's get going. Sorry, one last thing. I'm recording this on the 20th of October, and in 2 days it will be the 1st year anniversary of my YouTube channel. I cannot believe how much this channel has grown in a year. I'm very, very thankful for your support, and you have no idea how much it means to me. So if you're subscribed, if you're a long-time viewer, thank you. Thank you for spending your time with me, and here's to many more great years. All right, let's start. I was very excited to kick the festival off with the latest Knives Out. I've had great fun with the previous 2, and Wake Up Dead Man seemed to be taking the franchise into a new horror/gothic territory. How exciting! How exciting? Wake Up Dead Man is my least favorite entry of the franchise. But don't let that statement mislead you into thinking it's not good. It's good. I don't think it does anything particularly worse than the previous entries, but I suppose it also doesn't do anything that much better from them either. Perhaps the excitement and the thrills of this whodunit series is starting to wear a little thin, even with its fresh gothic skin. Maybe it was the ensemble, the murder, or the series' signature sledgehammer subtlety with its politics that I couldn't sink my teeth into this time around. Or maybe it's the fact that the formula very much feels like one at this point, and it trying to break free from it or turn it on its head is still a constraint of it. However, Daniel Craig as Blanc is still a treat to watch, and I'm sure most people will still have a good time with it. I mean, I still did for the most part. I just know Rian Johnson is capable of much more. I've put Wake Up Dead Man at number 10. I've put this film at 12. Yeah. Tuner was the surprise film of the festival this year, and I did not like it. In fact, I could say I disliked it. I have to admit, it was an uphill battle for the film to win me over, as I was wishful of a handful of other films I would have rather seen that night. But I realized that that's on me. You go to a surprise film, you get a surprise. But as much as the film had going against it, that much it had also going for it, because I did not know anything about this film, not even its genre. I was in completely blind, which rarely happens. Even when I avoid trailers and whatnot, you still hear reviews or even some buzzwords. I did not know anything. In that sense, the film had all the power to surprise me. But unfortunately, Tuner is the most cookie-cutter crowd pleaser I've seen in a while. It reminded me very much of Coda in the sense that, yes, it is a crowd pleaser, but it's a film you've seen many, many times to the point where you know exactly what beats it's gonna hit. And I guess it does that well. I don't know, your film can be in tune as much as you like, but if it plays Mary Had a Little Lamb, it's just not gonna, amaze me. Anyway, I'm being too mean. I want to move on. Didn't like this one. Let's move on to a crowd pleaser with teeth and something to say. Bad Apples is great. And funnily enough, a combination of what I wanted to get from the previous 2 films. Twists and turns, big laughs, clever script, and some good old plucking on the heartstrings for a good measure. Well, I say some, but I actually found it quite heartfelt as I resonated with the subject matter quite a bit. So what's the film about? The trailers and the marketing are going to spoil some of the fun, but I won't. The film stars Saoirse Ronan as a teacher of a classroom with a troubled child who can be best described as a pain in the butt. As someone who hated school and still has nightmares about it to this day, I am a big fan of films set in schools. I love it when schools are used as a microcosm to talk about something, talk about issues that are far larger. And that's exactly the case with this film. With each twist and turn in the plot, I was more and more worried on whether or not it will nail the landing. But I'm happy to report that the ending not only lands, it elevates the material. Bad Apples is a winner. Hopefully I was able to sell you the film while still being vague about it and not giving anything away. I've placed it at number 5. The Testament of An Lee is one of those films that won't win you over if it hasn't already in the first 20 minutes. The film circles the life of An Lee from birth till death, without ever stopping for a beat to focus on one event or theme. The whole film moves to the same rhythm it starts with, and as hypnotic as that approach felt, it kind of ended up washing over me in a way where I didn't have any emotional resonance with it. That being said, it surprisingly held my attention with how committed it was to itself, especially when it comes to its use of dance and music. You see, I'm divided on this film, and if there's any one thing I'm sure of, it's that this film will divide audiences. I do find it a bit ironic that I watched a whole film about An Lee, yet I couldn't tell you about who she really is. I mean, I can tell you what happened to her and what she went through, but not much about her as a person. She's upsettingly superficial as a character here, but it's not like the film is not aware of it. Instead, the film's focus is on the musicality and the spirituality of her religious movement, which is captivating, but not enough to see the film sacrifice themes, characters, and conflicts for its form. I've placed The Testament of An Lee on number 9 simply because it felt way more fresh than Knives Out and more exciting as a result as well. The buzz around Hamnet is crazy, but is it justified? Yes, with a big asterisk. The film is great and even amazing at times, specifically the quiet moments. Moments overpowered by nature. Moments that Chloe Zhao has again and again proven she not only excels at, but seems most captivated by herself. Even though the film feels less meditative and more mainstream than her previous efforts, excluding Eternals of course, it still feels like a Chloe Zhao film. And that is a great compliment. That is until the finale of the film, where it seems as though they had to have a director like Sean Levy step in to make the audiences cry. That's right. The film's emotional crescendo is such an unbelievably grand tearjerker that it almost falls flat on its face with how hard it's trying to work you. I don't know about you, but when I can feel a film trying to make me cry, it just cheapens the moment. And unfortunately, in the case of Hamnet, it was the moment the film was pretty much leading up to. But other than that, it's a beautiful piece of filmmaking about grief. And the two leads, especially Jessie Buckley, is unbelievable in this. She's becoming one of my favorite actresses with each new release. Shame about that ending, huh? Yeah. It felt as though it was completely at odds with the rest of the film for me, but it seems very much like a me issue. People are eating it up, so Hamnet, it's a good one. I've placed Hamnet at 6th place. Do we have any Ghost Story fans in the building? If so, I'm coming with great news for you guys. We got another fantastic film dealing with the passage of time and change. Boy, did I love this film. You know what this film feels like? It feels like the first 8 minutes of Up as a feature. Instead of observing a marriage blossom and come to an end, you watch the life of a logger and the faces and places that pass him by. The film is absolutely beautiful and feels like a very pure form of escapism or an intense psychedelic trip where it sweeps you off your feet and makes you live through an entire life before you're brought back to the real world by the credits. I got out of the film and sat outside the cinema and just watched the sky, the people, the birds, and took notice of the smaller details around me. Yeah, it's one of those films. Train Dreams is heart-wrenching as much as it is life-affirming, and I can't wait to rewatch it. I've put Train Dreams at number 2. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You is a stressful film. If there's anything you've heard about the film, it's probably that. At least that was the case for me. Yet, I was still surprised with how much it exhausted me. Similar to a Safdie film, people talk and yell over each other. Sounds overlap, the camera's way too close, things don't go how they're supposed to, and our central character shares the screen with some interesting casting choices. Whilst watching the film, it clicked for me. I realized maybe Mary Bronstein is the wife of Ronald Bronstein, the close Safdie collaborator. I was right. She is. But allow me to clarify that this film, whilst sharing similarities, is fully its own vision and project. The film deals with motherhood, identity, and existentialism in a clearly personal and at times surreal ways. This is a film I should love on paper, yet I came out of it thinking it was good, without much else to say about it. The film has some really interesting creative choices that elevate the material. The sound editing is very immersive, and Rose Byrne gives an incredible performance. I mean, I notice everything good about it, and it's certainly hard not to, but I wish I liked it more. I've placed it at number 8. I was pretty excited for this thing, but after I have no idea what happened with the microphone, so I'm re-recording stuff. Apologies if you follow me on Letterboxd and you have already read my thoughts on this film, because what I will be doing here is practically just echo them. The thing is, I was very excited for Is This Thing On, but after my disappointment I couldn't help but type away. Unfortunately, I found this film to be enjoyable. That's right, I thought the film was fine. And here's why I'm upset about it. For someone like Bradley Cooper, who has displayed a lot of ambition and promise with his previous 2 films, a perfectly fine film feels like a backhanded compliment. With this film, it seems as though Cooper has found peace with the idea of not having an Academy Award on his shelf, which, good for him. Instead, he has put his aim on the hearts of a far larger crowd than the Academy. With a film that is so inoffensive and familiar, I can't help but reminisce about Maestro, a film I disliked but was much more amazed by. However, the biggest crime of this film isn't the lack of ambition, but the lack of interest in the world of stand-up comedy. This is a man in crisis / divorce film with stand-up comedy as a keychain accessory. It's a pool in which the film barely puts its toes into, yet it's the most fresh part of the whole film. I've placed it at 11. Simply put, we're blessed with a new Park Chan-wook film. No Other Choice is about a man taking out his competition for a job he literally kills for. If that isn't an amazing premise to critique automation and capitalism, then I don't know what is. I don't think there's a single director out there right now doing it like Park Chan-wook. Even though he's had a long career and is a master of the medium, with each new film it feels as though he's discovering the medium anew, playing and experimenting with the camera as if he possesses the mind of a child, unaware of any rules. You mix his artistic sensibilities with his expertly choreographed scenes, tight editing and pacing, and you get one hell of a time at the movies. No Other Choice plays much more like a straight comedy than his previous films, whilst carrying over the Hitchcockian groundwork of Decision to Leave. Sounds great? It is. As usual, the performances here are fantastic and physically impressive, as there's a good portion of slapstick. I'm glad we got another collaboration between Lee Byung-hun and Park Chan-wook, because the result is one of their best works in their respective careers. I've put No Other Choice at number 4 to keep things interesting as I approach the last leg of the festival. The Secret Agent is perhaps the most riveting film I've seen at the festival. And the thing is, I wouldn't necessarily call it a tense or an edge of your seat film, but it's extremely captivating simply due to how and when it presents you with crucial information. You watch the whole film with question marks in your head, but not the kind where it feels so vague it's hard to follow. It's all paced perfectly. The film might also be my favorite looking film of the festival, courtesy of not only the cinematography but also the set design. I felt completely transported to Brazil in 1977. Every location felt authentic and lived in. At times, it even felt as though I was watching a film made in that era. In many ways, it carries the elegance and texture of a classic 70s film, and Wagner Moura's performance as the lead brings an old-school movie star presence that reinforces that impression further. It's also nice to see that the wipe transitions from Baccarat are back in full swing, as well as some other ballsy creative choices, which... The Secret Agent is one of the best of the festival, and I've placed it at number 3. In this year's festival, I don't know if I've laughed the most at Pillion, but I've laughed the hardest when I did. The film tells the story of a handsome biker taking on a sheepish guy as his submissive partner, and it's about the discovery of sexual identity and identity as a whole. Really and truly what we have here is a rom-com, one that is unorthodox and very exciting as a result. And you know what they say about rom-coms? They are only as good as your two leads. I don't know if they say that, I don't think they say that, but I say it, because I think it is true. In the case of Pillion, both Alexander Skarsgård and Harry Melling are fantastic, especially Harry Melling, who gives one of my favorite performances of the year. It's a film that doesn't have anyone narrate their feelings in a traditional rom-com sense, so we're left wondering and interpreting the relationship and their feelings through each little impression they give, making the film hover in your mind after having seen it. I really like this one, and I found myself thinking about it quite a bit as well. Between the 1st and the 7th spot, I've put Pillion at number 7, and I've left the number 1 spot free for Sentimental Value, aka my most anticipated film of the festival. Speaking of complex relationships, that's exactly what's in the center of Sentimental Value. A complex relationship between a father and her 2 daughters that you want to decipher so badly you squint at the screen, observing every raise of eyebrow and listening to each word carefully. Let me start by saying this. I desperately need to rewatch this film, because with everything I heard and read about it, there was no mention of how dense this thing is, and that was one of its most striking qualities for me. I think I would much rather talk about this film after having seen it another time, because it's only of my commitment to this video that I try to talk about it now. Guys, I think I haven't quite done my time with this film yet. What I can tell you is that the film has the tenderness we have come to expect from Joachim Trier. The writing that feels very specific and personal, yet manages to be incredibly universal, the great use of narration, a soft and warm feel. It's a new Joachim Trier film, and I want my privacy with it. No, but seriously, I am excited to rewatch this and sink my teeth deeper into it and see how it ranks for me. So here it is, my blind ranking of the films I saw at the London Film Festival 2025. If I were to rank these films now that I've seen them all, the ranking would look like this. Yeah, I'll probably come up with this list when I'm editing it, because yeah, I don't know how I would rank them now that I've even seen them, because rankings are difficult and ever-changing, but they are fun. Thank you for your time, I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for your support once again. Can't believe it's been a year, can't believe there's so many of you. I know maybe 1,600 isn't a crazy number, but it is for me, and I'm really proud of this channel, and I do want to just keep improving and keep getting better and better at it, and hopefully you guys will be there for the ride. for the journey, whatever the saying is, man. Yeah.